All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to explore something new.
Well, today we're tackling something I think a lot of us struggle with, finding time for a good workout, with our busy lives and everything.
Yeah, that's a constant battle for sure.
So we're diving deep into the world of minimalist workouts. And to help us out, we're using a video by Jeff Nippard, you know him, fitness YouTuber, really breaks down like the science behind training.
Oh, yeah. Nippard's great. He's really good at making that complex research accessible. And in this video, he lays out a plan for getting awesome results. You ready for this? With just TWO 45-minute workouts a week.
2 workouts. Okay, that sounds almost too good to be true. Like, is that even possible?
Right. It's like,
Uh,
can you really get everything you need in just two?
Yeah, exactly. But Nippard, he argues that you can hit all your muscle groups effectively with this minimalist approach. I gotta say, I'm intrigued. I am a little skeptical, though. Can you walk us through the logic behind that?
Absolutely. So the key is understanding the principle of frequency. So muscles, they recover and adapt actually pretty quickly. So hitting them twice a week, even with full body workouts, it's enough to, stimulate growth without overtraining.
So you're saying it's not just about squeezing in a workout whenever you can. There's an actual strategy, a science-backed approach
Yeah.
to this 2-day split.
Exactly, exactly. And the beauty of it is that it's a foundation, so you can build on it. If you find yourself with a bit more time, Nippard shows you how to adapt it into a 3, 4, or even a 5-day routine.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this can work. So let's get into the specifics here. What does a typical day one in this minimalist plan look like? What are we actually doing?
So Nippard kicks things off with a focus on compound movements, exercises that work multiple muscle groups at the same time. You got your dumbbell RDLs, that's hitting those hamstrings, glutes, step-ups for those quads and glutes.
Yeah, and I noticed he was really emphasizing doing those step-ups unilaterally. What's the thinking behind that? Why do them on one leg?
Well, it's a really clever way to work on your balance, work on that stability, and also making sure each leg is pulling its weight, so to speak. You're avoiding those imbalances that can happen when you always favor your dominant side. Plus, it adds a bit of a core challenge as you're trying to stabilize yourself.
So it's not just about efficiency, but it's about like really getting the most out of each exercise, hitting multiple things at once.
Exactly, exactly. And speaking of getting the most out of each move, did you notice the detail about hand placement during the RDLs?
Yeah, yeah, he was very specific about that overhand grip and keeping that lower back straight, no rounding. I'm guessing that's more than just a form cue, right? There's a reason for that.
You're touching on. Nippard highlights how that hand position, it can actually subtly shift the emphasis of the exercise. So the overhand grip here, it helps to really target the hamstrings more effectively. And that focus on the flat back, it prevents you from turning it into a lower back exercise, which is a common mistake.
Yeah, I can definitely see myself doing that. Okay, starting to see how even those little details, those little cues can make a big difference, especially in a minimalist routine. Now, I was particularly intrigued by the use of drop sets for triceps and lateral raises. What's the benefit of adding those in there?
Drop sets are a fantastic way to kind of like increase that intensity and volume in a really short amount of time. So you're fatiguing the muscle with a heavier weight, then immediately you reduce the weight to keep the set going.
Like squeezing every last bit of effort out of that muscle.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And this is particularly useful in a time-crunched workout where
Yeah.
you want to, maximize that muscle stimulation without spending hours in the gym. So it's a perfect fit for that minimalist approach.
So we've got, smart exercise selection. We've got that attention to detail in the form. We've got those intensity techniques like the drop sets. Anything else that stood out to you about this day one workout?
Yeah, one thing that really impressed me was the emphasis on technique throughout the whole workout. Even with the time constraint, Nippard stresses that proper form. It's non-negotiable. It's not about rushing through the reps. It's about making every single one count.
Makes sense. It's quality over quantity, especially when you have limited time.
Hmm.
So we've got a solid foundation here for day one. What can our listeners expect on day two of this minimalist plan?
Well, we'll dive into those details and uncover even more of Nippard's like clever strategies for maximizing, efficiency and results in this minimalist workout program.
I don't know.
So, day 2, right? Building on what we talked about with day 1.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really curious to see what this second workout looks like, how it kind of, fits in with everything we talked about for the first one.
Yeah, so one of the most striking things I think about day two is the inclusion of hack squats.
Hack squats. Okay.
Yeah, and they might seem like a strange choice at first, but there's actually a really smart reason behind it.
I'll admit I haven't used those in a while. Remind me, like what are those? And why is Nippard using them, especially in this, minimalist approach?
Right. So a hack squat machine basically guides your movement along like a fixed path,
Okay.
which has a couple key benefits, especially in this minimalist context, right? So first, compared to like your traditional barbell squats, hack squats need a way shorter warm up,
Got it.
which, remember, we're all about efficiency here, so every minute counts.
Okay, so they're good for, saving time, but do they actually give you the same results as regular squats?
Oh, they absolutely can. Yeah, they might put a bit more emphasis on the quads than a traditional squat,
Okay.
but they still provide a fantastic leg workout. And for a lot of people, that fixed path, it can actually help improve their form
Yeah.
and reduce the risk of injury, especially as you start to get tired.
Right, so they can actually be a safer option too, especially when you're, pushing yourself in those later sets. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, exactly. And that focus on safety and efficiency, it's a recurring theme in this whole minimalist plan. It's not about cutting corners. It's about, maximizing results with minimal risk.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, hack squats officially back on my radar.
Yes.
So something else that caught my eye on day two was the use of antagonistic supersets. Break that down for me. What are those, and why do they work in this minimalist framework?
Right. So antagonistic supersets, they involve pairing exercises that work opposing muscle groups. So like chest and back,
Got it.
biceps, triceps.
Okay.
And so you do a set of one exercise immediately followed by a set of that opposing exercise with minimal rest in between.
So like your chest is recovering, your back is working, and then vice versa. I can see how that would save a lot of time, but doesn't that I don't know, doesn't it compromise your rest?
Well, that's the really clever part. So while one muscle group is working, its antagonist is resting. So you're essentially cutting your rest time in half
Okay.
without actually reducing the recovery time for each specific muscle group. So it's a win-win. You get the efficiency and the muscle growth.
It's like a scheduling trick almost
Yeah.
to maximize your time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Are there any specific antagonistic supersets that he recommends for this workout?
Yeah, so one example he highlights is pairing a chest press with a back row. Saves time, but it also helps to, improve posture because you're ensuring, balanced development of those pushing and pulling muscles.
So it's not just about the efficiency, it's also about like building a well-rounded physique. It's like those compound exercises, getting multiple benefits from a single move.
Exactly. Exactly. Working smarter, not harder. It's a philosophy that really resonates throughout this whole program. Now, switching gears a bit, moving to hamstrings, you notice his exercise choice there.
Yeah, he specifically recommended the seated hamstring curls over the lying version. Is there a specific reason for that, or is that just, personal preference?
No, there's actual research behind that. So recent research suggests that the seated hamstring curls, they might lead to better muscle growth than the lying ones. And that likely comes down to just a greater degree of stretch you're getting in that seated position. So you can activate more muscle
It's
fibers.
interesting. Yeah, I'll admit I usually just default to the lying leg curls. But hey, I'm willing to try anything that might give my hamstrings an extra edge.
Right. Always worth experimenting. See what works for you.
And speaking of pushing those muscles, did you catch the technique he used for the bicep curls?
Oh yeah, the myo reps. That sounded pretty intense.
Yeah, myo reps are another like time-saving technique
Okay.
designed to maximize that muscle fatigue, stimulate growth.
Okay.
So essentially you start with a set to failure, then you take a very brief rest, just enough to catch your breath, and then you crank out a few more reps.
Okay.
And you just repeat that process until you can't do another rep, even with those mini breaks.
So like multiple mini sets within a set.
Exactly. Exactly. Sounds brutal, but effective.
Working smarter, not longer.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, my biceps are burning just thinking about that. Anything else stand out to you in this day two workout?
Well, I have to mention the ab finisher.
Oh yeah.
A double drop set on cable crunches.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, this one really threw me for a loop, even knowing, Nippard's kind of like his thing for intensity.
Yeah, a double drop set for abs. That's commitment. I was wondering if even seasoned gym goers could handle that.
It's definitely intense, but I think it just speaks to that beauty of the minimalist approach. you know? Because you're focusing your energy on a smaller number of exercises, you can really afford to push yourself in those key sets.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a concentrated dose of effort.
Eggs.
Okay, so we've covered a lot with these two workouts. Before we move on, I want to make sure our listeners really have a good grasp of how this all comes together. Can you give us a quick recap? Like, what are the core principles of this whole minimalist approach?
So, we've broken down these two minimalist workouts, really dug into the nuts and bolts of it all.
Yeah, and I'm definitely starting to see how much like strategy and science goes into maximizing your results when you don't have a ton of time to spend at the gym.
It's about being like really intentional with every exercise choice, with every set and rep.
Yeah.
But I think beyond just the specifics of this workout plan, there's a bigger idea here that I find really interesting.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that question we kind of posed earlier? Like, could this minimalist mindset be applied to other areas of life, beyond just fitness?
Yeah, that's a question I keep coming back to too. It feels like there's something powerful there, something that could be applied to, I don't know, work or creativity or even relationships.
Absolutely. Like, think about it. Just like we prioritize those compound movements in the gym,
Yeah.
what if we tried to identify like the compound tasks in our day-to-day lives, like the activities that give you the biggest impact?
So instead of getting bogged down in a million little to-dos,
Yeah.
we focus our energy on those high leverage actions that really move the needle.
Exactly, exactly. It's about being strategic with your time, with your effort, just like you are in the gym.
I like that.
And what about those intensity techniques, right?
Mhm.
Could we apply something like a drop set to, like a writing project or a work presentation?
I see what you're saying. So instead of trying to get it perfect from the start,
Mm,
what if we just focused on getting a good solid first draft done? And then refining it later. It's kind of like reducing the weight to keep the momentum going.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's about embracing that progress over perfection and
Yeah.
and recognizing that sometimes, good enough is enough to get started
Right, yeah.
and build on.
It's about eliminating distractions,
Yeah.
streamlining your process, focusing on what truly matters. It's almost like decluttering your to-do list, just like you decluttered your workout routine.
I love that analogy. And just like with those minimalist workouts, focusing on a few key tasks, it can actually lead to greater productivity and less overwhelm in the long run.
This is really resonating with me. It's like this deep dive has opened up a whole new way of thinking about not just fitness but like life in general.
It's about being intentional, focused, efficient, not just in the gym, but in everything you do. It's about making each action count, whether it's a squat or a sentence or a conversation.
It's about living with intention and maximizing your impact even when your time is limited. And that's a powerful message that goes way beyond fitness.
Absolutely. So as you go about your day, ask yourself, where can I apply this minimalist lens? What can I simplify or eliminate or prioritize to make the most of my time and my energy?
That's a great challenge to leave our listeners with. It's a reminder that we have the power to create a more focused and fulfilling life, both in and outside the gym.
You don't need hours and hours to make progress towards your goals, whether they're physical goals, professional goals, personal goals. A well-structured, efficient approach can give you amazing results, even with limited time.
Well said. Well said. And I think that brings us to the end of our minimalist workout deep dive.
Mm.
We've explored the science, the practical applications, and even the broader life lessons that you can take away from this approach. So we hope you found this exploration insightful and motivating.
Yeah, definitely. Until next time, keep diving deep. Keep striving for that efficient and fulfilling life.
And we'll be back soon with another deep dive, exploring a whole new topic. See you then.